Symmetry in graphic design refers to spatial relationships between elements, and specifically to situations where elements in a layout are centered with equal space to the left and right, or above and below. Before graphic design developments of the 20th century, title pages of books, for instance, often used centered text in their design, where each line of type was centered in relation to the others. This kind of symmetrical design can be emulated if we were to fold a sheet of paper with text or image in half. Then we would see that the left-hand side mirrors the right. However, there is another meaning for symmetry which is more general and refers to a sense of harmony or balance. So overall, symmetry evokes feelings of tradition, order, and rationality. Asymmetrical designs, which mean without symmetry, organise elements in a way that are not centered, but utilise the whole format or page or screen area. This creates dynamic compositions where designers play with scale, contrast, space and tension in between elements. Importantly, the negative space is less passive in asymmetrical design and becomes fully activated or evident as a part of the design. Asymmetry is generally associated with fewer rules and limits and more expressive possibilities. However, each kind of composition has its place, and the important thing is to learn how to identify when it's appropriate to use one over the other. While asymmetrical design may seem less rigid, it's crucial to spend the time learning how asymmetry activates elements in a given space, and to carefully control the effects you want to achieve rather than randomly placing elements into a design. As we begin to develop new designs, the question always arises, how should the layout area or the screen area be divided up? In what way should the subject matter occupy the space? The elements we choose, text or images or graphic elements, don't simply need to sit in a central position on the paper or on screen, but can appear to protrude out of or enter in from the edges. A symmetrical composition generally makes for a calmer, more peaceful work, while something more dynamic can be achieved if the elements are arranged asymmetrically. Symmetry tends towards balance and lack of movement, whilst asymmetry injects movement and spatial tension into a design. So these techniques of symmetrical and asymmetrical layout can help to generate feelings of balance and rhythm in a layout. Designers use rhythm in the construction of static images as well as in books, magazines, motion designs, and so on that have duration and sequence. Although pattern usually employs unbroken repetition, most forms of graphic design seek rhythms that are punctuated with change and variation. Book design, for example, seeks out a variety of scales and tonal values across its pages, whilst also preserving an underlying structural unity. Balance and rhythm work together to create works of design that achieve both stability and interest. And while the use of symmetry on its own in a layout almost automatically generates balance, asymmetrical designs are able to achieve a similar outcome. Generally, they're more active than symmetrical layouts, and designers can achieve balance by placing contrasting elements in counterpoint to one another. This yields compositions that allow the eye to wander through a layout, whilst achieving a pleasing visual stability.